Hello Stampers, and so thankful that you joined me today to talk about this beautiful card that I made with my stamp club using the Waves of Inspiration bundle. This is a stamp set. It's got this beautiful wave stamp, this fun pelican, several inspiring phrases, and a little seagull. And there's dies that coordinate with this stamp set. These are the wave dies, and they are stunning. They also have this pelican one, which is the one we're going to be using today. I did want to show you another card that I made that actually uses more of the dies. So this is the waves, and they're actually just offset so that they give more dimension, and the seagulls and the clouds, and they're beautiful. All right, so onto this card though for tonight. First, I took a piece of Pacific Point cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5, and scored it down the middle at 4 1/4. I took this beautiful coordinating paper that's going to be retiring soon, if it's even still available. I'm not even sure if it is or not. But if you have any interest in this bundle, you should get it now if it's still out there. All right, so I went ahead and cut them out using the stitched rectangle dies, which are not retiring. I'm so glad. And so I cut 3 of these out, and we're going to use this one for the wave itself. Alrighty, so the other thing that I did ahead of class was I embossed this piece of Bermuda Bay cardstock using the Bark 3D embossing folder, which is also retiring. If you don't have it, you should get it. I've used it a lot. It's wood bark, but it actually makes beautiful waves as well. So really nice to have. So those are done. And now we're going to get on to how I did the wave, because that is the main event tonight. So to do that, I used my Stamparatus, which if you don't have one, it's really a nice tool. Not only for just perfect placement on a card, but you can also mass produce cards with this. It's very nice. But today we're just going to make one card. We're using Bermuda Bay, which is the lightest color. I'm going to ink the entire wave up with it. And I want to get it good in ink because I just want to take one pass. I've discovered if you take 2 passes with this, it makes the wave too dark. So I don't want to do that. We're just going to do one pass. There. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love how the light looks like it's reflecting off the wave. Now we're going to take Pacific Point. In my class, I used the blending brushes, but today I'm just going to try the sponge daubers and see if I can be a little more controlled in how I do this. So if you notice in the sample card, the color gets darker as you go further back in the wave, and the way that I did that was to take a blending brush or a sponge dauber, and I didn't clean this stamp. I'm just going to keep working on the same one, and by using sponge daubers, you're not going to contaminate your colors. All right, so I just kind of did a little circle a little further back, and this is where you're going to probably do this several times to get a darker color so you can start to see the Pacific Point coming in. And I'm going to do it again. All right, isn't that pretty? We'll do one more pass. And then we'll go on to the Night of Navy, which is our 3rd color. All right. And I'm going to close this up real fast. My luck, if I leave them out, is to get them all over my body, so I don't really want to do that. All right, this is the Night of Navy, and you want a new sponge dauber. Now you notice my sponge daubers are stained. When I'm done, I just rinse them out, and once they dry, they're not going to bring this color into the next card, so it's not that big of a deal. Oops, almost did it straight on. Straight on there, that would be bad. All right, and I'm just going to do, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just going to do the very tip, and then I'm doing further back. Now this furthest back part is actually going to be cut off, so I mean I could do the whole thing, but we're actually going to cut it off. It's not really going to matter. All right, so there. That looks good. I think I'll just do a little further at the very back. Actually, I think I'm going to do a little along the bottom of the wave. Nice, and I think I'm going to try to bring in a little Pacific point just along the bottom here, which I probably have too much Night of Navy back there, but we're going to cut it off, so it really won't matter. And actually I need to leave these open anyway because I'm not done now that I think about it. All right, so I'm going to just do a little bit of Pacific point down here at the bottom, so that just a tad there. That looks really nice. All right, so now what we're going to do, we can take this off, and you can take your Simply Chamois or baby wipe, and I'm just going to wipe up my little spill here, so I don't get that on the next card or on my fingers, which I'm pretty famous for. All right, I'm going to take this one off, and I'll clean it later. I like to clean these really big ones, either with the Simply Chamois, or honestly, I just run them underwater. When they're this large, it's cleans up a lot nicer. All right, we're going to use this again for the Pelican, but I'm just going to set it aside for now, and we're going to work on this wave and just give it a little more dimension. So to do that, I'm going to start with the Bermuda Bay, and I just have a piece of scrap paper here. I'm going to take my sponge dauber, ink it up with some Bermuda Bay, and I'm going to rub off a lot of the color so I don't have like a big glob of color, and I'm just going to color where I stamped the Bermuda Bay to kind of fill in that white. And I'll put a little bit back here. So like I said, in class, I actually did this with the blending brushes, and I thought it was harder to control it around this wave because you kind of have to be surgical, and I wasn't doing a very good job of that. All right, so I think I'll set that color aside, and I'm going to go on to the Pacific point. Set that up there because I might want it again when I'm done. See how dark that Pacific point is? You want to get some of that off, that color, and then lightly bring in the Pacific point. Right there. And then last, set that right there. I can't even see it, but I can. It's right up at the top of my screen. And I'm going to bring in the Night of Navy with my Night of Navy dauber, which I just got all over my hands. This is when it's nice to have a pack of baby wipes around. You can clean your fingers off, or else it'll be all over your card. All right, let me just set that down. There we go. And I'm going to get some Night of Navy. And this is a really deep color, so you really want to not get too much. And funny thing, it's kind of purpley if you clean it off. You'll see. All right, and it's okay to get a little up above the wave. It kind of looks like it's misting. I'll get a little bit down here. Alrighty. Then I think what I'm going to do is just take this Bermuda Bay and maybe just blend in the colors a little. Just kind of so the lines aren't so abrupt between them. And I'm using the lightest color for that. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. So like I said, we're going to be cutting this out, so I want to just put my frame on and see the rest of that we're not even going to have. So I'm going to stop there, and I can close up these colors, and I'm going to start working with the sky. So move them. And these sponge daubers I'll just rinse off in water, let them dry overnight, and they'll be good to use for another project. So now I'm going to bring in a little bit of calypso coral and daffodil delight. I think I'll start with the daffodil delight first, since it is the lightest color. And get my sponge dauber. Even though it is the lightest color, I still want to just rub it off here. I don't want to see that big GABA color. You don't really want that on your card, so you want to rub it off first. So this is going to be darkest over here. It's like supposed to be the sun. And honestly, we might even be cutting that off. So I'll hold my frame up again in a sec. Let's see about where it'll go. And I notice I'm intentionally having darker and lighter areas, so it sort of looks, I don't know, a little misty or cloudy or something. And yeah, it'll be probably, you know, it's probably going to be right about there. So let me there. Just want to bring that line back a little. So that looks good. And now I'm going to put on some calypso coral. So this is where the inner artist can come out. With sponging, you can really make some beautiful backgrounds and cards. So we're going to use the calypso coral next, and it is bright. So I will say, when you use the blending brushes, it doesn't lay down as much color. So I probably should have grabbed them, but I didn't. So there. All right, so now we're just going to put some here, like it's sort of a sunset or something. Once again, my frame will be right about there. All right, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to close these up. Set them aside for now. Very nice. All right, now, isn't that fun? I'm my artist at work, but I can throw that away now. I'm going to bring in my mini die cut machine, which is a nicer size for the camera, and this particular die works with it. So I'm going to use the base plate and the two number 2 pads, or whatever. What are these called? I can't even think what they're called. But 2 of them. And decide where exactly I want this. And I think I want it over here a little bit more. There we go. So that the die, that wave is, yeah, right about there. I want my, the thing is I want my pelican, right, I want him to be able to show up. So I'll move it over just a little bit. Okay, that looks good. It's funny, when I did my class, I kept calling it a penguin. And my ladies are like, it's not a penguin, it's a pelican. I'm like, you know what I mean. So, it's not a, see, I'm going to say it wrong now, but let's see if I can get this through sideways. Normally when I'm emboss, I'm going like this, so maybe I'll just do that. Yep. All right, I'll do it sideways though, so you can see what I'm doing. Everything's a shaking. Sorry about that. All right. So this little machine is quite handy because it is small if you like to stamp. If you like to, you know, pack up and stamp with friends, it's a really easy machine to grab. So this we're just going to throw away. And that's that. All right, so there's that. I'm going to set it aside for now. And we're going to go on to the Pelican. I said it right, aren't you proud of me? Set this aside because we're going to use it again. And I'm going to bring back my Stamparatus. And I need a scrap, which just got buried in everything. And I need my plate. Where is it? Oh, look at that. Isn't that funny? It's right underneath. Perfect. Okay, I want to put my piece of paper, figure out where it goes. A lot of times I'll mark this. I should have. Push it up a little bit. Will that still work? Yeah, I want to have enough up there that I can put my magnet up there. Enough space. I probably should have used a bigger scrap, but I didn't, so this will work. Okay, good. Let me move this over so you can see what I'm doing. And my next step is going to be to take some markers. These are Stampin' Right markers. They're water-based. You can color on your stamps with them. Don't ever use your Stampin' Blends on your stamps. You'll ruin them, but you can use these because they're water-based. They'll clean right off. And I'm going to take my crumb cake. I have two brown colors. I have crumb cake and soft suede. This one's slightly lighter, the crumb cake. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the brush tip and I'm just going to do all of the wood with it. So when you use these markers, you want to hold them at a 45-degree angle, and you want to protect your points, so you don't want to push real hard. Just gently brush with them. And I'm going to take the soft suede and do the pelican. And then since they are water-based and I've been coloring for a little while, I'm going to just huff on it. I guess you probably just saw my face in the camera, or my head. Sorry about that. Guess I wasn't thinking about that. All right, that looks pretty good. I want to just do one more pass of everything. And that's what's really nice about the Stamparatus, is you can do it several times to get it nice and dark. And this time I won't stick my head in the camera. Sorry about that. A little bit of comic relief, right? Well, whatever. Okay, yeah, I like that. I'm going to just do a little more. I'm just looking at this and it's a little bit light up here at the top of the log, but I'm actually going to be using a darker color, so that looks really nice. So now I'm going to take my soft suede, which is a darker color, and I'm just going to do the outline of the wood just to give it some dimension. Let's just try that. I'm just going to do the two sides and see. So it looks like, in fact, if you look on here, it looks darker here, like the sun is shining this way, and that's like the shadow. And so see, isn't that pretty? Just do a little, so it's darker on that side. I'm going to, actually I did it backwards, but the sun is just going to be going the other way on this one, right? And I did it down here at the bottom. All right, so yeah, the sun is pointing this way. And now we can take this off. And now I'm going to take my Stampin' Blends and color it even some more to really make it pop. So for that I chose the light smoky slate. They come in two colors. There's a brush tip and a fine tip. These are alcohol based, so that's why you don't want to color with these on stamps. It will degrade the rubber as well as permanently stain your stamps, which I've had some of my customers do that. It's a little bit sad. But don't do that at home. These are just strictly for coloring. And the nice thing about the alcohol markers, well, they come in two shades, so you can do some beautiful shading, but also they're more vibrant colors, but they also are sort of see-through, so you can still see the original color that I stamped. And I'm not going to do anything with the wood. I'm going to use the fine tip of the daffodil. I think it's dark, yeah, dark daffodil delight to do his beak, which is kind of funny. I called it Summer Sun originally, which, wow, that's a really old retired color. I can't even believe I did that, but there you have it. So he's done, and now we're just going to cut him out. I mean, you could cut him out with scissors, but that's a lot of work, frankly. I'm not that good with the scissors. I'm not as good as the dies are, which are perfect. All right, so as long as you don't wiggle them when you're cutting. So now we're just going to set it on. Now if you are a wiggler, you can take some washi tape or something. Let me try to do this sideways so you can see it, and tape it on to your paper. I usually don't take the time to do that unless I know I'm just really going to mess it up. All right, where did I put my top plate? Oh, there it is. So let me set it on top. Just push it straight down. Then you can kind of press it so that it doesn't wiggle. And like I said, I'm going to have to do it this way. Just not really able to do it the other way. There. Actually, I'll go this way, I think. There we go. Very nice. And look at that. Perfect. Set that aside so I don't lose it. Alrighty, get rid of all that. And now, the last thing that I did, oh yeah, I took some of this beautiful twine that comes in neutral colors and put it on the back, and I just took probably a glue dot, but I think it's in my bag and I can't reach it right now, so I'm just going to use a little piece of double stick tape on the back right where that twine would go, and I'm going to wrap it around the card. So that makes it really pop. And this particular color matches the pelican perfectly. So there. See if I can get it to stick back. All right. Here we go. Get my snips. And I want to stick it on the back. There. There, isn't that cute? So let me start assembling. Oh, you know what I was gonna do? Where is that? Yeah, I wanted to do the inside. Let me do that real fast. I want to do the inside on my card, so I'm gonna have to move it, I guess, because I think that's just not gonna work. Is this even the right size? Before I get too crazy here. Yeah, it is. Okay. Let me just move him. I need to clean him. Where's the... There, I'll just use this baby wipe. Kind of hooked up to my camera here, so I can't go too far. Alright, so we're going to just... I want to put them right here. This is going to be the inside of my card if you wonder what in the world I'm doing. So I'm just going to repeat that process again. Of course, can you see what I'm doing? Just madly working away and you're like, what in the world is she doing? Alright, so once again I'm using my crumb cake marker. I'm not going to bother to huff this time because that was sort of embarrassing. And I'll use my smoky slate brush tip. You know, I was watching a video the other day and a demonstrator pointed out that the wide tip side has a bigger line and the narrow tip has like a smaller line. I've been stamping for over 20 years. I never noticed that. So I thought that was a really good little tip. Especially, you know, that time period I've grown to need my reading glasses to see what in the world I'm doing. So it's really nice to have little aids to help with failing eyesight. Not that it's failing, but I just need reading glasses. Like most people do. I held out for a really long time, but there, and now I just want to bring in a little bit of darker color for my shading, which is going to be backwards from the stamp, but it doesn't really matter because no one's going to see the stamp. They're only going to see what I did. Let's do a little bit more. And the other thing I want to do is these lines. Let's see if I can get them to pop a little. If not, I'll just color them with a marker. The rope lines, since I'm not going to be able to, yeah, that looks good. I'm not going to be able to put rope on the inside of my card, but I can color it, and I will. That just makes a real nice little addition to the interior of your card. And let's go ahead and quickly color the pelican. This time I'll use the fine tip instead of the brush, which is what I did last time. It was a little bit hard to control it. Almost always just use the brush tip because I'm kind of an impatient girl. I'm not going to lie. But you really can be a lot more accurate with that side. Now I'm going to use the fine tip and do his little beak, which actually isn't little. Perfect. All right, that'll be the inside of my card. I am now ready to assemble it if I can find my card. I found it. Great. So... let me do glue since I don't seem to have anything else here. All right, get that out of there. Okay, and I'm going to just put glue on the back. So this is mono adhesive if you haven't seen it before. Stampin' Up! Sells, and I like it a lot. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, I should have said this sooner, but please be sure and like this video. Leave me a comment. That would really encourage me. And just kind of new at this still and having a hard time getting a lot of videos posted. So any encouragement from you would be really awesome. But yeah, like and subscribe. That would really make my day. All right, that's how I want to put it. So now when I do a 3-panel card, what I like to do is do the left panel and then the right panel, or vice versa, basically the 2 outside panels, and then go back and do the inside panel. It's the easiest way to line it up. Otherwise, you might not line it up very well. Oops. See, the good thing about this is, see, it wiggled when I put it down. I guess I wiggled it. All right, well, it is just not going to move. Usually it moves right away. Well, all right, I don't think I'm going to be able to peel that off. Well, hopefully I cover that up. Oh my goodness. Don't you hate it when you mess up? I think it's because I didn't put very much on. The thing is, though, if you put too much on, then it oozes out. If you don't put enough on, it does what it just did. So, oh well, you can't win for losing. And now I'm going to go back and do my inside one, which is going to mess up because, sorry about that. I don't usually do that. And I'm out of glue. Let me grab another one. The other thing about these is they only cost, I think, $4, so they're really a nice addition when you're trying to get your order up to a certain level. You can just throw one of these on, and you know, I'm gonna just cover that up so it's not so stinking obvious somehow. I don't know how. Whatever. All right. Needless to say, we aren't all perfect, and this obviously is not my perfect night. And I'll show you the card that I did earlier that I did a much better job gluing. So I'm going to put this on the Coastal Cabana base. Oh, you know, one other thing that I did. Let me get it all together and then I'll show you the other thing that I did. Honestly, I think once I put this on there, you're hardly going to be able to tell that I goofed up my panels. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. All right, and then I put the Pelican up on a dimensional so that he popped up a little. Get rid of the dog hair. Dog likes to follow me down here into the basement. And here's where I'm going to just take and use some of this outer. You don't want to throw this away. The outer edges actually are quite nice for projects like this. That one of these will be too fat, but this is just right. So this is where it's good to have nails. If you don't have nails, you'll need to use a tool to get these off. But Almost done. I'm going to put the penguin, listen to me. Oh my gosh. Put the pelican on. See, now I've just got penguin on the mind. The last thing that I did was I took the Wink of Stella and give it a little shake. I want to just make sure I give it a little squeeze so that I get some flowing. Alright, and I just painted the wave with Wink of Stella. It was so pretty, and I don't even know if it's going to show up on the video, but if you look at this card in person with the Wink of Stella on there, it's absolutely stunning. Just makes it look like it's glistening. All right, and I'm going to put in my description of the video the Hostess code that's current right now and my website. So if you don't have a demonstrator and you'd like to order this beautiful bundle, you can do that. So we are done with this card. See, and one last thing, Wink of Stella, you always want to store it upright, so that's why I have this little arrow to remind me you want to store it upright. And zoom in on that card. Might show up better on this other one, I don't know. Anyway, isn't that so pretty? Thanks for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next video. Have a good day. Bye now.